When it comes to expensive luxury niche fragrances, there's a lot of options out there, and it's not always easiest to just get out to a department store and try some of these. While certain department stores, certain Nordstroms, Neiman Marcus's, Saks Fifth Avenue, places like that, will carry some of the more popular luxury fragrance brands where you can sample them. Some of these smaller, more niche level luxury fragrances aren't the easiest to get your nose on. So in this video, I picked out 7 of my personal favorites that, in my personal opinion, are olfactive experiences worthy of trying. These are not necessarily worth just buying a full bottle, but at least getting your hands on a sample or a small decant of some sort, just so you can get the experience. So stay tuned. The first one being from the Gate Fragrances. This one is called Memories. So what I find so special about the olfactive profile of Memories is that it's a smoked cherry tobacco scent. And I mean the best that I've ever smelled that encompasses a smoky accord in cherry or tobacco with cherry or anything of the combination. Oh man, it's a must try. Actually, so I don't have to say that for every fragrance. Every single one of these are must try. That's why they were selected for this video topic. Such a delight. Performance is bordering nuclear. It's absurd how long this stuff lasts on my skin. And you do have to be mindful of the sprays depending on your setting or where you plan on wearing it, because it's a very loud fragrance, especially once you start getting into the 5, 6, 7, 8 spray and then some, because some people like to spray very, very heavy. This can be a bit much once you start getting up there in the sprays, but my God, such an authentic black cherry type of smell. The smokiness isn't like smoking tobacco, even though there's a smoky accord and there's an earthy, somewhat smooth tobacco, but it's more on the earthy, dirty side, the tobacco here. And I think it's because it's such a dark concoction of notes, and that might be what makes it smell like not just a fresh fruity cherry smell, more of a black cherry, darker cherry. I think it's just the dark overtone of the fragrance composition as a whole with the other supporting notes. But that's what's going to jump out the most, at least that's what jumps out to me the most, is this smoky cherry tobacco type of smell going for it that doesn't seem to fade. It takes a very, very long time for the cherry to not be so prominent. It takes hours to really fade into the background and become much more of a tobacco fragrance. The smokiness does tone back. It does become more of a lightly sweetened, woody, earthy tobacco type of smell in the dry down, but just an olfactive treat, a delight to the senses. More on the masculine side for being a cherry dominant fragrance because of all of the tobacco that's used in here, plus that heavy dose of incense smokiness that's in the top of this fragrance, because the top is where you get most of the incense. I find it does tend to fade after a few hours. It's definitely a must try in my opinion. Check out the Gate Fragrances online. They do offer discovery sets. That would be the ideal way to get yourself a sample, because I believe it's absolutely worth trying. The Gate Fragrances Memories. A pretty new release by a perfumery in California called Door Prestige. They have 2 locations. One's called Door Perfumes, D''O''R, not Dior, not D-I-O-R, not the designer. Door, D''O''R. They have Door Perfumes and Door Prestige, 2 locations. They actually worked with famed perfumer Claude Deer to release this fragrance called Narcotica. And from the Door Prestige website, you can purchase a sample or a sizable decant. They have a variety of sizes available because they will decant the bottles, because it is pricey. I believe it's retail $280. It's a very expensive luxury fragrance. It's a 28% extrait oil concentration. It's a pure parfum. And what's different about this one was the oud that was used here. It is an oud-based fragrance. There is a cannabis note here, marijuana note, but it doesn't smell like marijuana. It does have more of an earthy, like a dark herbal green type of appeal to it That's where the cannabis really shines here. It doesn't have a marijuana weed type of smell like some fragrances with a strong cannabis note can. The way it was done, it's a precious oud that was used here, so it doesn't have your standard medicinal type of smell, that medicine smell that a lot of ouds can give off. It doesn't smell super dry wood pencil shavings either, and it's not a stinky fecal type of barnyardy oud that you may hear about with some of these more challenging Middle Eastern fragrances. It's actually an interesting scent profile, really and truly. It's a delightful warm wood smell. It's got a touch of a medicinal vibe, but it's more of almost a sweet, smoky nature to this oud. And it's actually got an intoxicating quality to it. This is one of those rare instances that I would suggest an oud-dominant fragrance, especially with a cannabis note of all things, as a great evening wear scent, great for going out, dinner, having drinks, even a date, because it's an interesting conversation starter that does have this alluring quality to the aroma. This is absolutely a must try. There's not a lot of hype around it. Not a ton of people know about it, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to feature it in this video topic, because it is absolutely worth sampling. Definitely try before you buy. I mean, it's almost $300 for a 100 milliliter bottle, but when you get your nose on it, the first time I smelled it, I was captivated by the uniqueness of the aroma, especially knowing the note breakdown and the way everything complements one another. It's just such an interesting fragrance. Very strong, warm amber base in the dry down. It's not just dominated by oud and this raw cannabis, earthy green nature the whole time, but it is lovely. It is so well done. It is one of the best discoveries I've had over the last year or so. For my taste and my preferred overall scent profiles that I wear on a regular basis, this kind of broke the mold because I don't have anything that smells like it. It's quite unique, yet very alluring. It captivated me from the start, and it's just such a unique composition. That's why I say it's worthy of trying, just so you can get the experience. Up to you to decide if it's full bottle worthy or not, but if you're looking for a different oud, not your standard run-of-the-mill oud rose fragrances, get yourself a sample of Narcotica from Door Prestige. One of the most expensive, fresh luxury fragrances out there, but an olfactive profile that needs to be sampled, needs to be tried, just so you can say you've experienced it, because in my opinion, it's possibly the best, if not definitely one of the best fresh fragrance openings I've ever put my nose on. That being Roja Parfums. This is Elysium Parfum pour Homme. Extremely expensive fragrance. Retails for around $500 for a 50 ml like this. Very, very expensive. This spray was just a few dollars. That was probably $10 I just sprayed in the air, honestly. I mean, I'm exaggerating probably. It's probably a little less than that, but it's expensive on a per spray basis for sure compared to many other fragrances, especially in a fresh, mass-appealing fragrance category like this one falls into. But it's some of the most believable citrus juice blend I've ever smelled in a fragrance. It has a zestiness. There's a green, fresh spice to it that really gives the heart of this composition a lot of character, but it's just such a beautiful, juicy fruit smell up top that I can't imagine anyone not at least thinking smells pretty good, let alone great. Because I personally think it is great. It's one of the best openings in a fragrance I've ever smelled, but it is extremely pricey. That's why it fits this video topic perfectly, because it's not going to be a bottle-worthy type of situation for most people, because while incredible, I do deem it to be an incredible scent profile with great performance for being such a fresh fragrance. It's super pricey. This is only for a certain market. This isn't targeted to everyone, even though the scent profile's for everyone, the price bracket prices it out of being targeted to everyone. It's a special fragrance in my opinion, one that I can't imagine, like I said before, anybody not liking, but it's worthy of at least sampling so you can say you've smelled it before. So maybe if you want to look for a more affordable alternative that's similar, because I can assure you I have many of the fragrances that are inspirations of this fragrance, and they can't touch this in quality, but they can come pretty damn close in the performance and the scent profile. So for me, It's absolutely worthy of getting the experience of smelling the original Elysium Parfum, because it is, in my personal opinion, one of the best fresh openings ever created in a fragrance. And that's Roja Parfums Elysium Parfum pour Homme. While not the most expensive fragrance in the video, it's still pricey as far as fragrances are concerned. Just compared to some of these others, it's a little bit more affordable than the others from discounters. But it's my favorite vanilla fragrance ever. It was my favorite fragrance I picked up in 2021. It is Nishane Ani. This is a gorgeous benzoin vanilla combo. Yes, there's a lot of benzoin vanilla combos out there. God, this is so good. But in my opinion, none do it better. Ani stands tall above all of the other benzoin vanilla combinations. It's an ambery, boozy type of smell. The benzoin here does give off kind of a boozy cognac type of smell. It's not too sweet. It's not too creamy for being heavy in a vanillic resin like benzoin, and vanilla on top of that. There are some spices here that add a bit of a warmth to it and help support it. There's some other notes featured here, but it's dominated by this boozy, bright, effervescent, resinous vanilla smell up top, and it does hang around for a long time. It's not too overwhelming of a performance, and it does last an extremely long time. Now, if you spray this one a bit heavier, I'm sure it can fill a room quite easily. It is heavy in the first hour for sure. Mindful of the sprays depending on your setting, like I stated before. But if you like anything about vanilla fragrances, this is worth trying. Maybe not full bottle worthy, because maybe you've got enough benzoin vanilla ambery type of scents. But if you do like that style of fragrance, or are you looking to dabble in that style of fragrance, I feel like starting at the top would suit you best. Get a sample of Nishane Ani, because, again, my opinion, I think this is the top tier when it comes to vanilla benzoin combos. The quality's there. It's possibly the most intoxicating scent profile I own. This is a delight for me to smell, for my wife to smell, and for strangers and passers-by in certain instances when they were compelled to ask what I was wearing or tell me I smell good. I'm not saying it's a compliment machine, but it's that type of scent profile that can definitely garner you some positive attention. It's warm, it's cozy, and it's extremely attractive. Get a sample of Nishane Ani. My favorite boozy tobacco fragrance. There's a lot of boozy tobaccos out there, but the rum is just so potent and powerful in this fragrance. It's such a pure smell. The purity of the ingredients here is second to none. That being from Argos, this is the famed Triumph of Bacchus. You can secure a carded sample from Argos directly. Save yourself 10%. There's always a link in my video descriptions down below. But this is a special fragrance. It has some similarities to other boozy tobaccos out there, but what's different about this one is the heavy dose of apple and peach that you'll get up top. There's a bright, fruity nature here. There's no oud. There's no smokiness. This isn't a pungent fragrance. While it does share some similarities in scent profiles, like I said, to other boozy tobaccos, it has its fair share of differences, just as it does in similarities. And that's the glaringly obvious difference there. Like I said, as it has matured, my fragrance has gotten darker. I've had it for some time. I'm very sparing with it because it's a very special fragrance, and I only wear it for certain occasions in very cold weather. But man, the rum absolute used here, it's such a smooth tobacco note that's used as well. It's not earthy. It's not an overly sweet fragrance, though there is a prominent sweetness here. It's remarkably blended to perfection. The performance is stellar again on this one. It's super long lasting. This one can be overwhelming if you spray it heavy, so another one mindful of your setting and situation. Cuts through the cold, no problem. This has an elegance to it. While not the most serious and dressy of fragrances, it definitely dresses up very well at the same time because of the quality here. This is one of the highest quality fragrances I've ever put my nose on. And that's why I think everyone should try it. Not the most unique from the brand, but definitely the most enjoyable from the brand in my personal opinion. Danye, the newest fragrance, I would say, is one of the more unique ones from the brand. It's a lovely blonde woods type of aroma, But here, I think if you're only going to try one from the house and you're looking for what I believe to be a phenomenal boozy tobacco fragrance, you should absolutely get yourself a sample of Argos Triumph of Bacchus. Nothing screams spearmint quite like this fragrance. This is next level mint. It's a spearmint oil that's used. There's olibanum for incense. There's some different woods and vetivers and things like that that are kind of the signature for the brand. But in my opinion, this is probably the most unique mint fragrance I've ever smelled that is insanely powerful. Definitely have to be mindful of the sprays on Amouage Enclave. I've had this fragrance overwhelm my wife every single time I've worn it, even down to a 2-spray wearing. When once we get in the car to go somewhere, burns her eyes, it's so powerful. I've had her tell me that. So on my skin, this may just be how it reacts on my skin, that it's this crazy powerful. This is like the most powerful fragrance on my skin. While maybe not the most powerful fragrance on others' skin, for me, based on the feedback I get from my wife every time I wear it, this is absurdly powerful. So be mindful of the sprays. But the scent profile is next level when it comes to mint fragrances, like I said before. It's dominated by spearmint and cardamom up top. The cardamom here isn't an overly spicy or powdery cardamom. It's more of a mildly spicy, sweet cardamom that blends so well with the spearmint oil that's used up top. This is an absolute different turn for the brand. Meander, Boundless, other newer releases from the house, they stick kind of closely to what Amouage has always been about, that Middle Eastern vibe, oud, incense, spices, at their core. That's still at the core of Meander and Boundless, whereas with Enclave, it's not dominated by those notes. It is dominated by cardamom and spearmint oil, and it's extremely unique. Not a mind-blowing scent, but so fresh, it'll make you want to wear it in the warm weather, but I can assure you, it's a lot for the warm weather, especially the hot weather. I would never wear this in the dog days of summer, but early spring, fall time, and definitely in the winter, if you want something fresh that has a nice uplifting cooling effect, even in the cold, because certain fresh fragrances just work great in the cold weather. Amouage Enclave is definitely one of those fragrances, absolutely worthy of a sample. I think it's a masterfully done mint fragrance. My favorite personally, but like I said before, mindful of the sprays, because if it reacts the way it does on my skin for you, it's an overwhelming projector. Definitely try out Amouage Enclave. Finally, the fragrance from Kajal Perfumes that I find most interesting, but not most challenging at the same time. It kind of falls somewhere in between. It's a bit unique and different, but not a challenging fragrance. That being the namesake for the Warde collection, Kajal Perfumes Warde. So what's different about this one? It's piney green. It's got this lovely boozy absinthe lime note. Absinthe's kind of a boozy lime smell. Almost a juicy fruit booziness. And there's some black currant here that adds this tart bitter fruitiness up top as well, and adds a bit of a dark, almost smoky nuance, really. Lightly smoky, obviously. This is such, I know I keep throwing that word around because I grabbed a lot of intoxicating fragrances for this video topic. That's why they're so interesting, and I think you should sample them. This may be the most intoxicating in the video besides Nishane Ani. Honestly, it's so different, but not challenging. It's so unique, but still pretty easy to like. And the performance is definitely there. It's not overwhelming, though I would not spray it heavy. I'm sure if you spray heavy, overwhelming performance. Another extremely powerful fragrance, depending on how you spray it. But for me, the settings I like to wear it, I like to wear this out to dinner, actually. I only do 3 or 4 sprays. It's more than enough. My wife's feedback has been great every time I've ever worn it. She loves when I wear this one. It's gotten to the point to where she can pick it out of a lineup. You're wearing that Kajal fragrance, aren't you? That's what she says. She never remembers the name of the fragrance specifically, but she remembers it's from Kajal. Very unisex. I don't find it to be overly masculine, nor does it lean feminine in any way. I feel like it rides the line perfectly. But if you're looking for something that's Got a strange, dark, fruity, boozy nuance with some piney green tones to it. As strange as that may sound, it just works with this scent profile. You can get discovery sets for the Warde collection, and this is the namesake for the collection from Kajal Perfumes. You can save yourself 10% again. There's always a link down in the descriptions if you're interested in sampling some of the fragrances. They have a few different discovery sets for the different collections. The original collection, the Fita collection, and then they have the Warde collection, which is this bottle style. And in my opinion, I have the entire collection. This is the one that I deem most interesting and most enjoyable at the same time. Get yourself a sample and try it out. It's Warde from Kajal Perfumes. Well, while I do have several, and I mean several other fragrances that could have fallen into this video topic, and I could have made it 10, 15, or even potentially 20, I really wanted it to keep it as small and tight and as official of a list for this topic as I could. That's why I came up with these 7 specific fragrances, because I believe they are absolutely worth trying. Not necessarily worth spending all the money for a full bottle, but at least getting the olfactive experience because of what they have to offer and just how great I feel the scent profiles actually are. And until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. Have you tried any of these 7? Have you tried others from the house? Because this isn't the only one I have from each house. I do have 2 fragrances from the gate. I have every fragrance from Argos and Kajal. I have several Nishane fragrances, and so on and so forth. Several Amouages. You get the point. A bunch of Roja fragrances. But I really deem these to be such highlights of these specific brands that they're absolutely worth at least experiencing at the very least. And until next time, I will say, if you do end up getting a sample and trying any one of the 7 fragrances that I featured in this video, and you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.